welcome to Ellen's Crochet Channel. Today is Friday, July 11th, 2025. Already July 11th. So what I have today is a finished project. It's my favorite baby blanket, all stitched up. Okay, this is my go-to baby blanket for when friends are having babies or their children are having babies, or coworkers ask me to make one because they have a baby shower to go to. This is the blanket that I make. It's your basic blanket stitch. My border may be a little unique, and I explain that in the recipe to follow. I worked this up in Loops and Threads Carousel Twist. This color of this one is Tide Pool, and I border it with a white, which is also a Loops and Threads. I've made it in the pink, which I think this is called Tickled Pink. Very cute color. I've made it in the denim blue, and I have to say I really enjoyed this yarn for this blanket. And of course they'll probably discontinue it, but it is 100% acrylic. It's the Carousel Twist by Loops and Threads, and 213 yards per skein. And this blanket, my blanket measures 43 by 35. That's the size I make for my gifted blankets for babies. Okay, well, this is a baby blanket. It could also, it grows with the child. The mothers use it to lay on the floor for tummy time. They use it to wrap their babies in when they're bringing them out to the car and, in the cold weather. Yeah, it's just very versatile. I actually do believe that this would make a wonderful Boggy Creek blanket also. The pattern, if you use a nice bulky weight, or even a 3-weight or a 4-weight, it's nice. It gives a great fabric, and it's nice and cushiony. Because in Boggy Creek, while the children the blankets are 40 by 40, 40 by 50. I think the reason for the blanket at the Boggy Creek camp is they sit on the floor in their cabins when they have story time, and they're doing all those camping things. So that they're putting this on the wooden floor so they have a little cushion, because there are quilts on their beds, and they do take them home. So the kids that if you work this up, they're going to take it home and they're going to lay on the floor watching TV or whatever when they get home. Some of the kids are older, and of course a 40 by 40 blanket for a 16-year-old isn't much. But if they're sitting on the floor and they're gaming, this would work, I think. Okay, so that's just my opinion. I give a lot of opinions lately. But anyhow, so that's it. I'm finished my blanket, and I did hopefully it's short. I tried to keep it short, tried to keep it simple, but I did a recipe tutorial. It will be immediately follow this if you're interested. I have people that have reached out to me asking me about my blanket, how many skeins I've used, and so on. So I thought, let me try a tutorial. Hopefully this one will stick, because the last one I did for my Down the Shore cape became a corrupt, and I was unable to get that complete video back, and haven't had time to film that, but maybe someday. Okay, friends, hope you enjoyed my tutorial. I absolutely love this blanket, and they'll probably discontinue the yarn, and I'll have to find another favorite. And I'm sure I will. Okay, take care. Oh, and it's Friday. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and hopefully the storms will ease up. It's been a crazy year for weather, but keep safe, and I will see you on the next one, friends. Take care. Bye. Hi, friends. Welcome to my favorite baby blanket stitch tutorial. There are many tutorials on YouTube for the basic blanket stitch. This is basically going to give you the blanket stitch and also how I make my baby blankets. I've been asked many times, Ellen, what do you use what do you do on your border? The yarn, how much yarn do you use? How many skeins will it take? And so I said, well, let me go ahead and just do a quick recipe. So as I said, the blanket stitch is done in a multiple of 3 plus 2. How I remember how I do my basic baby blankets that I gift, it's the perfect size. The mothers that I've given it to and that have received it from others, it's a great size. It's not too big, it's not too small, it has many uses. It's a nice fabric, it's very thick and cushiony. It's warm if you live in a cold climate. You can use it to bring your baby out to the car. You know, they do not strap their children in car seats with a blanket, with a coat on any longer. So, you know, when you're taking your baby from your house to your car, even if it's in the garage, it could be a little chilly. So they wrap them up and then they put them in their car seats, and, you know, they may put this over them to keep them warm. A lot of the mothers, you know, when your baby's doing tummy time, when they're learning to sit up, and sometimes they topple over, it's a little cushion because it does have a nice cushiony fabric, and the stitches, it's got a lot of definition on both sides. So, okay, so the yarn I have been using, well, for as long as it'll be available, is the Loops and Threads Carousel Twist, which is 100% acrylic. Now, the Loops and Threads acrylic is machine washable and tumble dryable, and this is a number 5 bulky, and it calls for a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. There are 213 yards in each skein. For my blanket size, I used 5 full and almost, so a little less than 6 for the blanket size that I make. And my blanket size is somewhere around 43 inches. That's the width, and I make it 35 to 36 inches in height. So, you know, well, honestly, it's however you want to make it. I start on a original chain of 101 because it's multiple of 3 plus 2, something easy for me to remember the next time I want to go and create this same size. 101 Dalmatians. I'm making a baby blanket, and you know, it's one of those things that you put and you can remember, okay, how many chains did I start with? 101 Dalmatians. So yeah, just, you know, one of the crazy quirks that we do, so we remember things, or I do. So okay, so this, as I said, Loops and Threads Carousel Twist. Now I do the basic blanket stitch for this blanket in a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook, although the band says to use a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. It says it's a 5 bulky, but it's on the thinner side. I border my blanket also in the Loops and Threads, and this is in the Soft Classic. And you can use any yarn, you can use any weight. For this, you would just change your perhaps the size that you want. You'll add a few more to your foundation. Okay, so this is a Soft Classic in white. Okay, again, 100% acrylic, machine washable, gentle cycle, tumble dry low. Now, this is a 4 weight, but it also recommends a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So the 5 millimeter the 5 bulky recommends the same size, which will kind of give you an inkling that although this is a 5 and this is a 4, they're recommending the same hook size because they're comparable. And you know, I like to use the same yarn that I use for the body of my blanket on the border if I can. But when I do my border, I do go down to a J 6.0 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, the border is basically a simple single crochet, but I think it looks really pretty. And I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm going to be using a loops and threads in the pink because it's very difficult to see the stitches with the variegation in this yarn. So let's begin. Okay, so for this quick recipe, I'm going to start with a slip knot, and I'm going to chain, the multiple is 3 plus 2, so I'm going to chain 18, and then I'm going to add 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's 6 times 3 is 18, and then I'm going to add 2. So that's just your multiple for your beginning chain. And as I said, if you want to make your blanket larger than I did, my blanket started on a beginning chain of 101, which would be 99, which is 33 times 3, and then I add 2. So after you do your chain count, I go in the back bump, and this is a foundation row, foundation single crochet row. So that's how I do it. We're going to go and we're going to start on the second back bump from the last chain. So 1, 2, and we're going to single crochet all the way across. So this is a single crochet foundation, and I do mine in the back bump. I think it gives a nice finished look, and it's actually easier when you go to put on your border. The stitches look, I think they look a little more uniform, and this is my personal preference. Of course, you can do yours however you like. Okay, so I'm going to work to the end, and I will meet you up after we do single crochets all the way to the end. Okay, so here we are. This is my foundation single crochet row, and now we're going on to round 2. Okay, we're going to chain 1. So every round starts with chain 1, and I'm going to turn our work. And in this first stitch here, we're going to, every row starts the same also. We're going to be doing two double crochets, okay, in the first stitch. And every row begins the same. Chain 1, turn, and 2 double crochets in the first stitch. Now we're going to skip 2, skip, and then third, we're going to put a single crochet and 2 double crochets. And as I said, this is the easiest blanket to make. It works up very quickly, and it gives a great fabric. Okay, once again, we're going to skip 2, and we're going to do a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Okay, my yarn here is not coming out. Okay, single crochet and 2 double crochets. Skip 2 stitches, single crochet, and 2 doubles. Again, skip 2, single crochet, 2 doubles, skip 2, single crochet, and 2 doubles, Okay, you should have 3 left. We're going to skip 2, and in that last stitch, we're just going to put a single crochet. So that's row 2. So from here out, every row is the same. We're going to chain 1, we're going to turn our work, and in that stitch right there, we are going to put 2 double crochets. 2 double crochets. And you're going to see right here where the single crochet of the row before, that's where you're going to be working your stitch. You're going to put a single crochet in that same one from below, and 2 double crochets. It's so simple because you don't have to actually look for a stitch. It's so easy to find. Okay, we're going to skip. We're going to go right there into that single crochet from the row below, and we're going to put a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Again, we're going to find that single crochet from the row below, put a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Again, there's the single crochet below. We're going to put a single crochet and 2 double crochets. This is great for a beginner, and it works up beautifully, quickly, and makes a beautiful baby gift. Okay, there's the single crochet from the row below. We're going to put a single crochet, 2 double crochets. Okay, now we're coming up on the end, and you'll see we have 2 stitches. Now, if you can't get into the turning chain, you can go into that last stitch. If you can get into the turning chain, that will help also. It doesn't really matter. You know, sometimes it depends on, you know, your tension and so on. But either way, it comes out very straight, and it makes a beautiful fabric. And we're just going to continue. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Again, 2 double crochets into that first stitch. Hope I'm not going too fast. Okay, and here we are. Here's where that single crochet was. We're going to put a single crochet and 2 double crochets. So it's single crochet, 2 double crochets, and you just go on and on and on until your blanket is the size you like. And I'll meet you back up. Okay, so I've done a few rows. So we're just going to imagine that this is the size that you would like your baby blanket. I think we would want it bigger, but you know, this will give you the idea. Okay, my edges are very straight. This was my foundation row, and you'll see that the top of the blanket has these little, you know, little ridges. And if you're going to use the stitch for something, you may want to leave that there. That's fine. I try and even it off because, you know, I just try to make all the sides of the blanket look uniform. So what I do is, you'll see that the foundation row here, you know, you have the single crochets where you don't have on the others. So I fasten off my yarn, I weave in my ends, and now I'm going to start working on the border. And what I do is, the first row, I use the same color. Okay, either the same yarn. I have done one in this pink. Let me just a moment. I'm going to get it just so I can show you. Okay, so I have made this blanket in the pink. It's the same yarn, Okay, and this color was tickled pink, which I thought was very cute. And I made it for a baby girl. And I wanted to do the border in pink. So in that case, I just started the border in this pink. Okay, the blanket was here, and I started in the pink. Whereas the blanket that I just did in the green, I did not have the same, so I went around to begin my cleaning up my edges with that same yarn. So, you know, it's all a matter of preference, what you choose to do. But just so you have an idea what I've done in the past. Okay, let me find the end of my yarn. Here we go. Okay, so what I do is, because I want all of the edges to have, to be similar, you know, to be the same. I don't want to put another single crochet. I don't need to clean up this edge. I need to just clean up the other three. So I'm going to start in the corner here. Okay, I'm going to join my yarn. Okay, and in the corners for this row, I do chain 3. And I go right back into that same stitch. Okay. Okay, and that just starts the corner, because, you know, we're going to be going around and we want some place for the stitch to fall. Now we're going to go and stitch up the side rows. Now, of course, you know, it's very hard to go in the edges of the side. You just try and do a single crochet as evenly as you can. Okay. Just as evenly as you can. Single crochet all along. Okay, and I will meet you up when we get to the top. Okay, so we're at the top here, and I'm going to single crochet right here. It's not cooperating. Here we go. Okay, single crochet. I'm going to chain 3. Single crochet back in that same stitch. It's not, come on now. Okay. It's going to look a little funny, but it'll be fine later. You'll see. Okay, so this is the edge where we had, you know, your single crochet, 2 double crochets. So what I do is I put a single crochet and the 2 double crochet row stitches, and where we had the single crochet, I put a half double. So we're going to go right across, single, single, because this is where you can actually see the stitches, single, single, and in that single crochet below, we're going to do a half double. Okay, single, single, and half double. Single, single, half double, single, single, half double, single, and then single. Okay. Now we're at the end where we did that last single. I'm going to do chain 3. And I'm going to put another single in there, that same stitch. Okay, and now I'm going to go down the raw edge and finish it off as evenly as possible. Okay, sorry about that, until we get to the end. Okay, so we're just going to continue with single crochets to even off the edge. All right, and you'll see how where it was a little rippled now it's fairly straight. Okay, and we have that single crochet that mirrors the foundation. Okay, so it's kind of like giving it a frame, and you'll see how that works up once we get to the color change. Okay, friends, so this is what it's, let me move my camera, it's kind of crazy. This is what it's looking like now, and it may look a little wonky in the corners, but trust me, this is how it works for me. So this is what I consider the right side, because this is the right side of the foundation row, okay? And I want to end my blanket on the right side. So I'm going to be putting 2 rows of the contrasting border. So I'm going to start on the wrong side. Okay, I'm going to start in one of these corners. Okay, where I put the chain 3. Okay, and I'm going to chain 1. And now I'm going to single crochet all around the entire blanket. Okay, we're going to just do single crochet all the way around. And this is your basic, and you may want to do whatever, you know, border you like. I'm just showing you how I do mine. And I think the contrast with the white comes out pretty. I have done the same color also, but sometimes it just pops out the color. Okay, we're going to go single crochet all the way to the end. Okay, now we're at that chain 2 space. We're going to go single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then we're going to crochet all the way around. And you will see that though that looked a little wonky before, it will not look wonky once it's all done. Okay, so I'm going to continue this all the way around, and I will meet you up for the next row. Single crochet all the way around. That single crochet into these little corners, chain 1, single crochet. Okay. And I will meet you up where we will start this. Okay, so we made it to the back around, and I've chained 1 and joined. I'm going to turn my work, and now I'm going to single crochet back around, starting with that same stitch. Okay, single crochet all the way around. Looks a little, may look a little crazy, but trust me, when you get back around, it's going to look fine. I think I need to clean off my hook because it's making the yarn stick. So we're just going to go back to the end, and I will meet you there and show you how I work that. Okay. Okay, so back at the next end, I'm going to single crochet into that last chain 1, single crochet again back into the same stitch, and I'm going to just continue around doing single crochets until I get to the next corner, and I will meet you there. Okay, I'll meet you back at the next corner. Okay, so we're back at the next corner, and once again I'm going to put a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet into that same stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet all the way around till we get to the next corner. So if you'll notice, when I get to my corners, on the first row I did 3 single crochets, 3 chains, I'm sorry, 3 chains in the corners. The second round I did 2. This last one I did 1. So it went from three chains in the corner to 2 to 1. And it kind of just gives it a squared round edge. And I think that looks pretty. And that's how I work my borders on my baby blanket. You can work your borders however you like. You could put if you want to put a ruffle, if you want to leave it off, you could also leave it off. You don't have to put a border. Okay, so I'm coming up on the end. Again, I'm going to put a single crochet. Let me find that right there. Single crochet. I'm going to chain 1, single crochet into that same stitch, and then I'm going to go around again with single crochets till we get to the meet up in the beginning. Okay, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, so I finished going around, and then I just slip stitched to join on the corner here where we began. And of course this border looks quite large in comparison to the center of the sample. But when you see it on the blanket, okay, you'll see that it really doesn't look quite as large as it does there, but it does look quite pretty. I think it gives a nice effect, even though it's a single crochet. So as I said, I start my clean up border with a chain 3 between in the corners. My first edge of the contrast, I do two chains in the corners, and then on my last row, I do 1. And it just gives it a squared, while it's rounded, it's still square. And I think it's pretty because it is a square or a rectangle blanket, but we still want it, a soft edge. And I find when I do my borders on this blanket, that works great. So the first round cleanup is 3 chains between, the second is 2 chains between, and the last is just 1. And actually you don't even see it. You don't even see that little 1 chain. It just kind of gives it a nice clean look. And so that's my favorite baby blanket stitch recipe. It's my recipe. It's how I do my blankets, and I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. I hope it helped you. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. And for those who reached out and did ask me, how many skeins did you use, and so on and so forth, I hope this answered your questions. And thank you again for watching this video. Like, comment, most importantly, leave me a comment. Feedback would be welcomed. As I said, I have posted one other recipe on my channel, and it was for, I think it was down the shore cape, which became corrupt. So I'm hoping that this one doesn't get corrupted. All right, friends, take care. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye now.